Yo,
Yo,
what's going on?
what's up, brother?
Chilling, man. You're currently in Miami right now, right?
Yeah, man.
What's the weather? What's the high today?
Oh, I don't even know. It's thunderstorming outside, and I got to figure out a
Ah,
way to get on these streets. But yeah, man. What's up, man?
man, just chilling, chilling.
Who's mine?
So I'm so curious to cause I just want to talk music with you. And right before I came on, I did a quick wiki and I found some interesting facts that I'm excited to dive into. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah, man. Ready, man.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Two Degrees Podcast, brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Today's guest, I had the pleasure of coming across His Grace on the roads of Miami for Carnival. I don't even remember what year, but it was at least a good more than a decade ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like an iconic moment for me because just growing up, I was heavily influenced, me and my friends, by Black Chiney Sound Crew, and you guys influenced them to create their own sound crew and all that, and so it was just dope hearing your mixtapes coming up and just seeing your progression through that into Major Lazer and to winning your Grammy. Everybody, we got Leighton Walsh, affectionately known as Walshy Fire of Major Lazer. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, man. I'm good, King. How you?
Man, life is a whirlwind, and I'm at a high right now, so I'm enjoying the moment, trying my best to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, like as I mentioned, I want to dive back all the way to your schooling. You have a master's in journalism, and I'm curious to what prompted you to take journalism.
So basically, when I went to Clark Atlanta for undergrad, I took a course. Well, sorry, I had an internship at the radio station, and when I decided to go to grad school, they had an entire degree for radio, TV, and film, which is journalism. So I decided to take the journalism, and I was directly doing radio. So I didn't do TV or film. I just did radio. So because of my internship and undergrad, I decided to go into radio in grad school.
And then was that with any particular goal in mind? Were you hoping to use that as a platform for your music?
Yeah, it became. I went on to be a. Well, no, I wasn't. I was just young, but
Hmm.
yeah, I wanted to be in radio. I liked it. I was really good at it. Back then, you would use reel to reels. So I was
Hmm.
really good at editing reel to reels and doing the commercials. So I just figured I would do some kind of like behind the scenes stuff. But the internship, the guy would eventually get me on the microphone a few times. On Saturdays, I would take over and do some stuff on the mic. But it was a jazz station, so very minimal talking. But I learned a lot about jazz. And yeah, that's why I decided to go into it to actually become a radio jock or just have something to do in the radio field.
Would you say there was any jazz influence then when you were doing Black Chinese?
No, not really.
Hmm.
The jazz influence would be there probably in everything, but not directly. I didn't know anything about jazz until I got that internship, and I was engulfed in jazz. So
Hmm.
jazz was very new to me at that time.
And then did that have any direct correlation to your involvement with Vice?
No, not at all. Vice is a totally other thing. Definitely, Vice probably comes from Black China. But I think the guy that used to work there, I forgot his name now. He was very much into Vice, into Black China.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, I'm curious about how your household was growing up, because was there any pressure or how was it following, I guess, the not traditional path of, I guess, the normal education, like going into become a doctor or a lawyer or any of those mainstream things where you followed your artistic journey in music and journalism, but then your brother also was a bowler.
Mm-hmm.
Was there
Yeah,
any
well, my dad,
pressure of?
Yeah, no, my dad had 12 kids and they all did very well. So
Mm,
there was no pressure. It was just a standard
mm.
um, that everybody just did very well. You know, all my brothers and sisters did very well. So
Where did you
um,
fall in that 12?
I'm number 11.
Ooh. So then how is it then where it's like, because I think that's also a cultural thing where the responsibility falls on the eldest to take care
Yeah,
of the
but they
family.
were so right, but they were so much older than me.
Mm,
They ended up having their own families before I was even born.
mm,
Um, you know, so that wasn't the case, but definitely you know, for the ones for the brothers and sisters that I did know when I was a kid, because a lot of them I didn't know. I know most of them now, but at that time I didn't. Um, it was very cool, very close family, and yeah, everybody worked really hard. Everybody did their best, so you know, you got a lot of excellence kind of coming out of that institution.
mm, mm. Now, with growing up in Miami, um, it was different in Toronto when it came to, I guess, the reggae culture, where it was still there, it was prevalent, but it was still heavily influenced by the American reggae scene and the Jamaican reggae scene with the mixtapes and everything that we had up there. And we kind of adopted, making our own mixtapes and making our own sounds. So I was curious to dive into that thought of like, what was the dance hall scene in Miami back in the day?
No, it was massive, man. YBT sound was definitely the number one sound by far.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was massive. You know, it was massive, man, massive. You know, you had extremely huge events. Um, sound clashes were extremely big back then. You know, David Radigan, Kilimanjaro. If they ever came into town, it was like the entire city shut down.
Hmm.
And pirate radio was big, so you know there was a lot of communication within the community of what's going on, and when something was happening, the word got out really easy.
So you used a very specific word that I feel like needs more spotlight, especially during COVID when the whole verses thing came out, where in my opinion, I still feel that Bounty Beanie Clash was the best verses of them all. Where where did that develop, that style of clash?
Man, way before me,
Hmm.
you know, way before me. In the '60s and '70s, you know, it starts, and then in the '80s is what you begin to see sound clash as we know it now. Yeah, man, it began to grow and grow and grow. So it's something that's been a slow roast. It's been many, many decades to get to where it is now.
Do you feel like music in the mainstream? Because I noticed after that event, all the other artists tried to have their version of a sound clash, but it just
Yeah, that
didn't.
one. Yeah, that one set the pace. But yeah, it's not in their culture, so you know
Mhm.
they can't really duplicate it. But definitely, shout out to Swizz, man, good friend of mine, and I get lots of great events. Created a
Mm.
lot of history. He doesn't have to do another one at all. Did a good job.
Do you think then it's a style that, because reggae is so heavily influencing the mainstream and what's popular, do you think that the sound clash is going to catch on in American culture?
It definitely won't. You know, cutting dub plates is not going to be something that's going to catch on.
Hmm.
It's going to be impossible to get hip hop artists to do dub plates on a level
Yeah.
where everyone can participate. Yeah. There'll definitely be its own version, but yeah,
Hmm.
not what
Would you happen to know the history on dub plates on why that became a thing? Because I also found that interesting. Where
Yeah, so
that.
basically what you had was before before Clash as we know it, sound systems used to carry their own artists. And every sound had a group of artists that it would take as it began to start battling. These group of artists would be the main reason that you could win or lose. And then as the sound would begin to grow, they would get 3 or 4 dates in one night. And instead of actually carrying the artist now, because they have 3 or 4 dates in one night, uh, they began to cut those one-off artists with their one-off songs,
Mm.
on dub plates and be able to take those to the other events, and that began to dominate and began to become the preferred way to do it. And the live stage show artists carrying kind of thing kind of died.
Mm. Who would you say then is the dub plate king?
Well, I think it's pretty unanimous that if you ask that question, the three sounds everyone's going to bring up is Kilimanjaro, King Addies, and Bass
Mhm.
Odyssey as the top three to ever do it.
Mhm.
And, everyone can argue uh, in between on which one of those three.
Mhm.
Um, my personal favorite sound was always Silverhawk sound, and sound from New York called LP International.
Mm.
Those are my two favorite sounds ever. So,
Is there an artist out there who's like the most sought after dub plate?
oh man, yeah, probably like Jimmy Cliff or Burning Spear.
Ooh, man, that's dope. That's dope. So how then did you get involved, or how did you know that you had what it took to become this incredible DJ MC?
Yeah, so while I was working when I was doing my internship, I started there. I started to like it, and then when I got to FAMU and did my graduate program, started to do radio. When I started to do that program, I started to do nightlife on the side. Radio doesn't pay, so you kind of have to hustle it. And be like, yo, I'll be hosting this party tonight. And that's really what happened. Was just being in college and trying to hustle money. I started to enter the nightlife and began to host events, and then eventually started buying records and enter the DJ battle and won a pair of turntables. Yeah.
Hmm. Can you shed some light on that topic of how the promoting game has changed from when you started?
Promoting a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you made flyers. You went to Kinko's, you made flyers. You posted an entire parking lot every single day. You stood outside other people's parties every single night. There was no other way to get people to know your event was going on. You would
Hmm.
drive around the city and poster the walls, poster the poles. Yeah, to promote a party really took a hell of a lot of work. It took a
Hmm.
hell of a lot of work, like insane work. I don't think anybody understands what it is to flyer an entire parking lot of a university. All the parking lots, it's pretty normal. Everyone was doing this.
Jeez. And then would you say today's way of promoting a party, because a lot of things are online now and social media, would you say it's easier or harder to promote a party?
Yeah, you already know the answer to that.
But then with everything being so accessible online, it seems like there's a saturation because then you just see so many flyers all at once.
Saturation of everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Single thing that's not saturated.
Fair.
Convenience is saturated.
Convenience is saturated. Hmm. That's definitely something that needs some thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that, needing to flyer an entire university lot and keep that grind up, what was it like then on in the realm of mental health? Because with this podcast too, I like exploring that aspect when it comes to artistry and the amount of time and effort an artist puts into their craft. So how did you balance out time for yourself while you had to do all that?
Um, well, my generation doesn't have this mental health like conversation, right?
Hmm.
And I guess it is good that someone else having it. But I come from the generation where you just did it. Like the whole, like, I don't know, man. I hear this question and it's such a weird question because my dad wasn't afforded that question. My grandfather wasn't afforded that question. All the men I knew, they weren't afforded that question. They just got up and did it.
Hmm.
So what was my mental health like 20 years ago? Just got up and did it. You stepped up as a man and you got it done.
Mm,
You wanted to fulfill your dream. You wanted to be something. You put in the hours, you put in the work. What is mental health about that? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is. But we're in a weird time, man. And I see it and I go, wow, um, you know, this generation is allowed to analyze the mental state and give reasons to why they've failed or succeeded, and attach it to mental something. And for
mm.
me, it's like, man, it wasn't, it wasn't something you broke apart. You just got up or you did not. And if you did not get up, then maybe you could say that there was something mental happening to the person that did not get up. But the people who got up and got it done, I don't think, I don't think we analyzed it. We just got up and got it done.
I think to get more specific with that, to see if we can explore it a bit further, but like it seems like you were able to keep a good head on your shoulders, where I know a lot of people who have went down that path of the nightclub life, the promoting life and all that, and they get involved with drugs and they get involved with the wrong crowd when it comes to looking for money to fund parties.
Mhm.
How were you able then to sift through who you should work with and who meshed well with what vision you had?
That's a great question. Drugs wasn't a part of my world, so that's
Hmm.
just it didn't exist. Um, but promoters dealing with drug dealers, dealing with really uh, unprofessional or really just bad people. Yeah, tons of that. You just make the mistakes, man. And
Yeah.
thankfully, I'm here. Thankfully, I'm here, man. I've done every single thing. Uh, I've sat with next to the worst of the worst. Um, been through it all, man. You know, I've, I've seen a gun pulled out 100 times. I've seen shots at a party 1,000 times, and thankfully, I never got hit.
Mm.
And so, like, all I can say is, yeah, there's nothing special about me in that way. I didn't do anything unique. I just got lucky
Mm.
because I have tons of friends that died and they didn't do anything either, and they did not get as lucky. A
Yeah.
good friend of mine's TJ. He just was standing there when this guy decided to open fire, and that's it. He just was, and he was just standing in the place where in the line of fire. So yeah, I didn't do anything, man. That kind of stuff. Nightlife sucks, man.
Yeah.
Nightlife sucks. Nightlife is the worst thing I would tell anybody. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get into nightlife, man. Get into a space that's much healthier. Get into a space that's much more clean and much more positive. Nightlife has taken a lot of my friends through drunk driving, violence, and it's a space where people get wasted,
Yeah.
and the worst of the worst are all in one group doing the worst. If you really I look back some of the parties I was at, the worst people in the city would all be in one room.
Mm.
Um, so what are the percentages of something not going bad? And so the goal in life is to get yourself away from the proximity of things bad, right? So like you have kids and you put them in a better school than you went to, you move out, you move into a better neighborhood, you do everything you can to mitigate the risk of something happening. So if you are a smart person, staying away from that life will be the best way to mitigate the risk of something bad happening.
Mm. Yeah. No, I feel that. I agree with that. Um, there's a saying that I came across, and I guess it talks about like I guess a cycle in a way, and because you mentioned like trying to put your kids in a better school, um, and trying to I guess break generational curses and give just a better environment for the next generation to come. I don't know if you've come across this quote, but it's something along the lines of hard times make strong people make easy times, easy times makes hard times, and then the cycle continues.
Huh. Yeah, yeah.
Where or how do you think, or is it even possible to maintain that fine line where it doesn't fall into easy times leading back into hard times?
Um, Man, you just surround yourself with people that help make sure that doesn't happen. You
Mm,
know, you can only do so much. At some point, you want to make sure that you've got a team, or you've got a family, or you've got something that's happening to help, uh, keep everything afloat.
mm,
Yeah, man, just put yourself in the proximity of great people.
fair. Well, I think that's a perfect segue then now into Major Lazer, where I feel like that was a great
Yeah, man, it
commute.
was a big turn in my life, man. And shout out to everybody. They can definitely Google how I got into Major Lazer for sure.
Yeah.
But it was one of the best things that ever happened. I'm here 11 years later.
When did you know that Major Lazer was gonna be like had a
Probably
global
11,
sound?
probably 11 years ago,
Hmm,
day one.
nice. Now, from 11 years ago, with all the effort and work that you're putting into it, would you say then you expected a Grammy coming up,
No, I
or
never
was that?
thought about it.
Hmm,
Yeah, I never thought about it. Just do what I do. Just work,
yeah.
man. Just work.
So then, what was that feeling like, seeing that email or getting that call saying, "Hey, we got a Grammy nom," and
Yeah, it
then
was
what
really
was?
cool. It was really cool, man. I watched it live on TV.
Hmm,
I was, I was at, I was not there.
yeah,
Um, it was awesome. It was a great feeling, and I give thanks, and at the same time, I hope that one day, um, we can have an award show that awards, the Caribbean, and we feel just as proud, and not really look at the Grammy as be like this thing that validates you.
hmm.
So yeah, man, feels good.
What's some advice then you can give to up and coming artists in any field of music, where how do you maintain that focus of just focus on your music, don't worry about the awards?
Yeah, man, it's just like, I don't know, right? Like, I'm not the one to give advice because everyone's journey is different.
Hmm,
I don't know
yeah,
what somebody's going through or has gone through to get to where they are to tell them what to do next. I want to say, like, don't be a little bitch. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I
yeah,
realize that this is not how people talk anymore.
hmm,
And so just the whole idea of giving someone advice is like kind of weird at the same time, because nobody was there to give us advice. You know what I'm saying? We went out there in the trenches, we stayed low, we kept firing, and we made it through. So what else can I tell somebody else but just get out there and do it?
yeah,
And I just feel like I'm pandering. I feel like I'm coddling, sorry, um, adults, when it's like, give me, what's the advice? You feel like you're putting on a diaper,
hmm,
and it's like, man, are you just going to do it or not? There's no advice.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you're too weak to do it, you'll find out. If you don't love it, you'll find out. Um, if you love it and you ain't weak, you'll be fine. Um,
yeah,
and everybody ain't gonna make it. So either you will or you won't. And yeah, that's it.
fair, yeah. I'm curious to know about your post Grammy win, where, and it's happened to a lot of people, not in a negative light, but I think it's a moment where people step into a new category or a new level of achievement, where after something big like that, for some reason there's like a lull, there's a downtime. Did you guys experience that, or was it just did things get bigger? Did opportunities get bigger right away after that award?
Oh yeah, everything blew up super big. Yep.
Hmm. And then with that, touring wise,
No, after the Grammy, the pandemic hit me.
ah, so then what was the game plan from there?
Just nothing to do, right?
Yeah,
Just gotta get up, figure it out, and we're back. Everybody's back. Everybody's touring. Everybody's doing great. So shout out to everybody that was able to weather that storm, and the people
yeah.
that weren't. I hope they have something good going on for themselves. Have figured it out
It,
in some way.
now through that, because with the pandemic happening, I saw that you opened up a spot, Dante's.
Yeah, man. Dante's Bar. Man. Definitely check it out.
What was that like opening up a new business during the quarantine, during the pandemic?
Well, it was before the quarantine, so it was supposed to open. We started it before the pandemic. But as in build out stuff. But obviously, we had to push it back. But it worked out, man, and it's a blessing. And everybody, when you come to Miami, go to Dante's Hi-Fi. Check it out on Instagram. It is by far the most unique experience, man. It's a vinyl bar, great drinks, great atmosphere. Um, Very unique experience in South Florida for sure.
Hmm. I'm pretty sure you've gotten this question a lot as well, but I'm curious to hear your perspective because I've gotten a whole bunch from other DJs that I've had on here. But what's your opinion on the evolution of music where you have DJs nowadays who don't understand or appreciate vinyl?
Mm. I don't care. Why do I care what somebody else appreciates or likes? It doesn't put any more food in my pot.
Hmm.
It doesn't do, yeah. I'm not gonna be the person to fight what somebody else likes or doesn't like or appreciates or doesn't appreciate. That's them. And I respect them just as much. Yo, you ain't gotta like everything, and you ain't gotta understand everything. You don't have to appreciate everything. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not the one that's going, well, you don't appreciate it, therefore you get no love.
Hmm.
Like, do whatever makes you feel good. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters.
Yeah. You have this essence about you that is just focusing on just worry about yourself and you'll get the best results of becoming the best person that you can possibly be. Did you always have that? Or was there ever a
Mm-hmm.
point in your life where you tried to conform to societal norms and just try to impress other people?
Say that one more time.
So did you always have the mindset of I'm just going to do me, it doesn't matter? Or was there ever a point in your life where you tried to fit in extra hard
Yeah, for
and
sure. I mean, I'm a human being, so you
hmm,
start to look at things and be like, man, how can I, fit in here? Like, if I wanted to go on South Beach and DJ, it's a whole different kind of energy than DJ on South Beach. So let me start playing this kind of music. Yeah, you start to fit in, but eventually you get your own style. Eventually you get your own voice. You get your own way of approaching everything, and yeah, you become your own person. But for sure, I think everybody wants to join some gang, represent in some way, uh, you know, attach himself to something and fit in. But eventually you'll figure it out.
yeah. Now you brought up a interesting point where it's like if you wanted to play at a certain area or whatever, you play certain music and things like that. So how do you mix up or switch up when you're on the road for Carnival versus when you're touring and you're at a big EDM festival with Major Lazer?
Now I understand it. I understand it perfectly. I don't know how to explain it to somebody. You just do it. You just, 30 years of experience. I've been DJing for 30 years, so now I know exactly how to do whatever for whoever. But again, that's wisdom coming from experience, and I can't teach or tell somebody that.
Yeah,
You know, you got to just get out there and do it. If you're not going to get out there and do it, there's no words I can say that's going to get you to 30 years of experience.
yeah. Was there any point within those 30 years that you questioned that if this was
Yeah,
the
for
career
sure.
path?
Like I said, I've lost lots of friends, man. When a
Mm,
friend dies, you're like, what am I doing?
mm,
Also, DJing has no pension, it has no 401k, it has no insurance. You know, there's going to be a point in your life where you become an adult and you're going to start to look at this job and say, this job is not the best job for me as an adult. You know, this job is not the best job for people with families and kids. And, you know, you start to realize like, yo, you're out at night, kids are, you know, not going to see you in the morning at your best,
mm.
you know, and stuff like that. So for sure, you know, but I love what I do. I love what I do. I sacrifice, and I hope everybody around me understands that sacrifice. And I hope they do the same thing. I hope that they love what they do so much that they're willing to sacrifice it all.
Can you share that feeling that you get when you're on stage and what it is that keeps you coming back?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's euphoric. I mean, you feel like life makes sense. You know?
Mm, mm. Was that ever a question then where it's like, if this is, I guess, your purpose, or is this driving towards your purpose?
Yeah, I think it definitely became a purpose when I started to see that there was a way to send a message, a positive message through it.
Mm,
Major Lazer taught me that. Major Lazer taught me there's a way to send a positive message through this thing. In a super dark space where everybody just came to get messed up, you can turn the energy and you can drill home a message and create music that's positive. So yeah,
mm.
it's become a purpose.
Damn, that's a beautiful message. I'm curious then if there was any, I guess, it was a weird trend. I don't know if you call it a trend, but in Toronto especially, there was a very large divide when it came to the type of music where you had a lot of Canadian Jamaicans who didn't like soca music. Was that ever the
Mhm.
case in Miami?
Yeah, for sure. That was everywhere.
Can you explain where the hell that came from?
I mean, if you really think about it, um, it's just like any other moment where something just doesn't make sense um, because the leaders, the influencers of that are not on that side. And the leaders and the influencers of that time were like, man, soca music is just too happy. And
Hmm.
so therefore it got stigmatized as this music where, you know, it was just jump up, wave, wave. And why would uh, why would the bad man and the bad gal them uh, be smiling and having a good time and enjoying? You know, that's the whole thing about soca and carnival is happy. So when you have the leading forces of Caribbean music kind of doing more of a telling a different story, uh, you know, you would find that people would be like, damn, man, I can't believe I got to go listen to this soca segment now. You know, and people kind of like being like, man, cut the soca off, And back then, remember now, it's not like how it is now. The girls now drive everything.
Hmm.
But back then, it was much more balanced, where the men, had a huge influence on the direction of an event. And they didn't let the women just kind of like drive with it and say, yeah, we're taking the wheel. Back then, the men were like, no, we're gonna play music for us kind of thing. But the
Hmm.
girls liked it too, so it's not like the girls didn't like it. But yeah, it was just a different energy, a different time. And, I'm pretty sure the people from that era still don't like soca,
Yeah.
because they're just that was their era, you know. And I'm talking about Trinidadians. I'm talking about people I know from Trinidad are like, man, I didn't like soca back then,
Yeah.
because it just wasn't cool. Just like how anything that just isn't cool. Haitian music wasn't cool back then. Now in Miami, Haitian music is big.
Hmm.
So I don't know what that means for the older Haitian people. Do they think it's not cool because they grew up in the not cool era? Maybe.
Yeah. Hmm. That's interesting. That's funny. Can I ask you to we'll close this and then log back in because the time's running out, and then we'll close out the segment.
Or you tell me to log back in now.
Yeah. All right. One sec.
Yeah,
Yeah, you brought up an
yeah.
interesting point where it's like the women are starting to take more control of the sound in a way and the vibe of a party. Can you give an example of how?
I'm a piano, soca, um, Afro house music. It's all women driven. Deep house, all women driven. Everything's women driven in that space. Um, Dance hall still has a balance. Hip hop is still very male driven. Um, but yeah, everything else is very female.
And then I guess how does that change the sound of a party then? Would how would you curate your playlist then now
Yeah,
compared to 2 decades ago?
yeah, man. It's just different. Yeah, you just change it. You see what the girls like. You see what they're dancing to, and yeah, you just change it. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, you just see what they like. The girls tell you what they like. So
Hmm. With that now, is there a proper way for people to request music at a party?
no, I think that's going to eternally just be a disrespect. Um, I do believe that there are certain nights when you can have a tip jar
Hmm.
and you can have a little like, yo, man, um, I give you this $10. Do you mind playing this kind of thing? Like if I DJ at a bar, um, you know. But if I'm at a club, there's no way. There's no way. There's no reason to be like yelling Bad Bunny, or having Bad Bunny on your phone. It's ridiculous. I had to curse somebody out the other day
That's
because she was
funny.
ridiculous. She was out of control. She was literally out of control, screaming, "Play Bad Bunny!" And me, I'm on the microphone. That's the
Hmm.
difference between me and 99% of other DJs. Is I talk,
Yeah.
and so therefore I can embarrass you. And I did that. I embarrassed her really bad. Um, I don't know why. I don't know how this got to the point where um, people think that's a great decision. Where somebody's sitting in a party and goes, "Yo, I want to tell him. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to tell him what to play." It's almost like, yo, where have you gone in your life where the DJ didn't already know that that guy is the number one artist in the world and should play his music?
Oh
It's such
man.
a disrespectful thing. And I
Hmm.
don't know how these people don't see the memes or don't see the conversation on the culture saying, yo, stay home. If you feel you need to go to the DJ and say something, stay home. But again, this
That's
goes
funny.
back to it being a shitty space with the worst people in the world.
Hmm.
And they're
Is
not the
there
worst in the daytime. They're just the worst at night. And that's when their real nature comes out and their ignorance comes out.
the demon hours as they
Yeah,
call
the
it?
demon hours. Grandma said nothing good happened. She was
Jeez.
right.
Um, is there any moment when you first started DJing that stands out where it was like, not to say it was like the worst place you've ever DJ'd, but I'm curious if there's an experience that ever happened that was like, yo, this is just insane.
Too many. I remember one time in Ottawa, I DJed New Year's Eve uh, at this little hole in the wall spot. And that was when I really thought, like, yeah, I don't want to DJ no more.
Hmm.
It was just one of those nights where it was a big night. It was a big, important night, New Year's Eve. I should be happy and celebrating and be in this big place with lots of friends. And here I am in Ottawa with nobody um, in this dark spot with a bunch of strangers. They're all doing stupidness, and I'm just like, yo, this is this is my low. This is right before I got to Major Lazer. I
Oh,
mean, this
wow.
is an all time low. This is a bad, bad, bad place. And that was when I decided to to stop DJing. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to DJ no more. And then right after that, Major Lazer picked me up, but not start decided to stop, but I was really contemplating.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And then to
but
contrast that, is there any city or any venue that you'd love to play at that you haven't yet?
oh yeah, there's tons of places in Africa I haven't played that I want to play for sure.
Ooh. Is there any works or any talks to get you there?
Well, I mean, I've done 14 countries in Africa, but I just want to do the rest.
Nice. Do you know how many countries off the top of your head that you visited?
I think 164 something.
Ooh, damn. Music aside, with these experiences, then, what are your top three experiences that you've had traveling?
I don't know. I've had nothing but good experiences though.
Damn.
I've had bad experiences too, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but then the thing with traveling too, or I guess this is a interesting way to look at it, where it's like, have you ever traveled anywhere and then that place left such an imprint on you that it influenced your sound?
Yeah, South Africa is one of them. I mean, there's tons of places, man. You travel, you pick up, you travel, you pick up, you travel, you pick up.
Hmm. Nice. Oh, now lastly, before I leave you, but doesn't look it now because we're just chilling. But you are one fashionable person. Where did your fashion influences come from, and what is important about fashion that you want to, I guess, what's a statement that you're trying to make with your fashion?
I just want to represent myself, my culture. I want to represent my experiences. So yeah, that's it. I put all of that into what I wear. I'll wear a pair of Clarks. I'll wear an African shirt. I'll kind of put everything that I think represents me and makes me feel comfortable. And when I go out, somebody will ask me like, "Yo, where'd you get that?" I'm very happy to say my friend made it, or very happy to say I got it in Africa. And things like that. So I try to make sure that it's very conversational, but also just very representative of what I want to put out in the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, man. Definitely my brother.
Um, because you've been so heavily influencing the music world and driving your sound and your image and your vision for what music is, during the pandemic and quarantine, a lot of artists found new hobbies. Did you pick
No,
up
I
anything
didn't. I
new?
didn't. I didn't pick up anything, man. I just started working in the way. Started doing online sound clashes and online stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
I still do them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. So then DJing is always going to be a
No, I
part of
bought
it.
a farm. I have a bar. Obviously, I don't want to be the 50-year-old guy at your party. So
Yeah. Damn. Oh man. I'm curious about that night. So you got a farm. What's the goal now?
yeah, I just got it. So putting all the goals together, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And is that also in Florida?
Yeah,
Whew. That's goals for me.
big deal.
Because right now with the truck, living in the truck and living minimalistic, the
Mhm.
goal is to buy land and then to park this truck on that land and just cultivate something self-sustaining for me.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Where's your truck? Where do you
Um.
live?
So right now I'm based out of Vancouver.
Mhm.
Um, and I just found a pretty dope spot to park next to like this community center,
Yeah.
and there's like an
So,
RV community here.
so
But
yeah, man,
oh
I
man,
miss Vancouver, but yeah, you're doing the right thing, man.
yeah, no, trying to, and it's like, as you mentioned, we're just focusing on me and just trying to do my best, trying to just be real with myself
Yep,
and true to myself. So
yep.
it's maintaining my art while living within a means that, because like I pursued this lifestyle, converting this truck into like a tiny home to get back to my needs versus my wants. I had a lot of
No, for sure.
wants. Didn't need all
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Didn't need all that
Yeah, for
clutter.
sure. No, I totally get it. Yeah, man. Sounds good.
Yeah, and but yeah. So then, are you planning on having like livestock? You gonna get?
Yeah, I'm gonna have it, but like I said, I'm gonna figure it out. I just got it, so
Yeah.
in the process. Just look out
Was
for it.
that was
I'll
that
definitely
always a
update
goal
you.
for you when you were younger? Was you want
Say maybe like a year now. It's been a goal, so I'm glad to have got it.
solid, dope,
Mhm.
awesome, Walshy, man. I
Yeah, man.
appreciate
Big
you.
up, man.
Thank you for your time,
Big respect,
and
my brother.
hope to link up with you soon.
Yeah,
If
man.
it's at a carnival, if it's on a red carpet, wherever,
Yeah, man.
man,
We'll
we'd
link
be
in
happy.
Vancouver for sure.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. But
All right, my
everybody,
G.
thank y'all for tuning in. 2 Degrees Podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Walshy Fire, check them out. Major Lazer, that's what it's about. Whew, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man, brother. We'll talk.
Yeah,
Peace.
yeah.